Hello and welcome to Castle's Corner. I'm Coach Castle, and I'm here to educate you in the latest science regarding biomechanics, biochemistry, respiratory health, nutrition, and much more. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and like these videos if you find this content helpful. But now, let's go ahead and get into the video.
Hello, welcome to Castle's Corner. I am Coach Castle, joined today by Joaquin, and we told you last week that we'd be getting into it, so here we are getting into it. Let's talk about Joaquin's personal fitness journey, just start to finish in a very concise form. And I'd like to kind of course, you know what I'm going to harp on, but I'm going to harp on your transition into biomechanics, as well as the
Yeah.
fact that you are still in the process of that transition of learning how to actually use and apply them correctly, which is
Mhm.
a wonderful place. A lot of people like I'm training right now. They're all in that place. And maybe some of the challenges you faced along the way. And if you can, I'm going to pest you a little bit to also get into what a bunch of people I'm sure are going to want to know. How do you keep doing it? Why do you keep trying to be fit? Why do you keep trying to be better? So, anyways,
Sure.
without further ado, would you mind just giving us a, I guess a sum? I know, but for the viewers, give us a summary of who you are, and then start to finish, I suppose, ending with meeting me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, just a brief introduction for those that's maybe it's the first video of the podcast that they see. My name is Joaquin. I'm 23 years old. I'm a personal trainer from Argentina. And I met Coach Castle like searching information about biomechanics. And eventually, when you mentioned you wanted to do an experiment with resistance bands, I told you I wanted to be a part of it. And we started talking. I started asking you questions. You helped me with some things and we ended up here doing this podcast. But yeah, I met you after I had already been into biomechanics for maybe 2 months to 3 months. Like I have been watching your videos, but yeah.
Well, start
Um.
start at the beginning though. When did you start like pick up a weight, for example? What first
Oh
drove you to say I have to
yeah.
exercise? Was it from your family? Was it your father, mother?
No,
Was it school? Was it
no.
superheroes, movies? What was it?
No, not at all. I actually was like a pretty I don't know the word, like inactive child. I
Hmm.
was like a chubby child. I had asthma problems, like no activity at all. Nobody in my family did anything. And my parents, not uncle, like no relationship with fitness or exercise at all. But I remember being like 5, 6 years old, 7 maybe, and walking through the club here in my neighborhood, and they had a little local gym, those gyms with the old dumbbells that are rusty and maybe one person, one old man that always trains. And I saw that, and I didn't really even like muscles. Like I remember in my head at that time, like an ideal physique was that of a thin man, like slim, not really even muscular. But I saw people lifting weights, and I thought that could be even fun. Like I always had that thing I related gym to fun. So I think that's a blessing actually, because I never really suffered going to the gym. I know some people do. They maybe lack they don't really want to go. They do it because they have to, but I always enjoy it. So
If,
yeah,
if I if I
that's
may just interject
uh-huh.
real quick. So I mean, I've been over at nauseam myself, but what exactly about, as you say, exercise or lifting weights is fun? What particular aspect, if you could identify what's fun about it? Is it the competition? Is it the progress? Is it the strength increase? Is it the feeling of camaraderie? What is it exactly?
Maybe not really like competing or the camaraderie because I'm a really introvert person. I never really liked training with others and the environment, the thing, the culture that gets formed in the gym. I remember in at my age, I can fast forward to when it started because that it kind of is about the same. I started like picking that interest again when I was maybe 14, 15 years old. I remember some people from my school, like my peers in the classroom, they played rugby. They played rugby in the team, and they had to go to the gym so they could build their body and gain more mass. And it was the age where maybe at that age some of the guys started to train, and then it was when I remember, oh, I actually like this thing, but I didn't really like all that thing of going to the gym with some people. When they invited me to go to the gym, I didn't really like that thing of competing of who lifts more weight. I didn't really find like my place there. So when I started, I actually have I don't really know what's fun about it. Like I've always enjoyed it, like the feeling, even the pump feeling. It was something that I really that clicked with me for even the first time. I remember my first sets. I always went to past failure. I remember I used to grab my arm to keep doing bicep curls. Like, yeah,
So
I
where,
don't know.
where
I
did you
just
get
had
that?
it in
Where
me.
did you get that idea from, or was it just innate within you? You wanted to do the most that you could.
Yeah, and no, maybe just because I thought that was the way. Like I didn't really even know about failure, but I thought if
Music or no music? Were you listening to music
no,
in the gym
no,
then?
no, no,
So no music. So
no, no
you were just
music.
having fun pumping up. Yeah,
Yeah, like my first
good skill.
workout after not liking going to the gym, I knew my dad had a set of dumbbells. Oh yeah, that was my reference. Like my dad used to be like kind of muscular, not because he trained, but he worked in a factory in a warehouse, I think, and he had some dumbbells. Like he didn't even train, but I always related that to having that kind of physique. So I took his dumbbells. He didn't even use them anymore. It was one dumbbell, and I started doing bicep curls. I remember I saw biceps like an aesthetic muscle. So I started like out of nowhere doing every other day. I remember it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and again, just bicep curls. Just 4 sets of 12 reps of bicep curls every other day. Just that was the only exercise I did. That was my introduction to fitness. And that's when I started actually seeing progress and enjoying it, although it's like the worst routine I could even think about, but it was going to failure. It was my first like thing going in, and I started like really developing myself. Like my arms, they were like disproportionate with everything. Then I started doing push-ups, implementing push-ups, but that helped me. That bicep thing, maybe I did some like this kind of exercise because it was one dumbbell that actually made me gain some strength to start doing push-ups because I was the type of kid that couldn't even do one, so I always like never tried them, and I found out that I could do three maybe with all the biceps I have done. So I just started doing that. Then I just trained that biceps, tricep, chest. So that was kind of my whole way of training for maybe 3-4 years. But I just did it for myself. And then that's the point when I started maybe getting more interested in it because I was still overweight. I was like maybe 15 kilos heavier. And that was something that I was always like really conscious about. So I started looking for diets, like diet advice, nutritional advice. And that's when I found about calories in, calories out, and that like completely changed my mindset because I was always like self-conscious about food, or yeah, I just didn't like my appearance. And when I understood that and how to manipulate it, like using my fitness pal and all that shit, being like completely beginner, I could do it on I think 3 months. Like I went on an extremely deficit, but I enjoyed it because it was for the first time the moment that I was in control of getting the result that I wanted. And when I found out about it, and I like my mind realized that some content in the internet about fitness helped me, I started doing the same with training. I see like this nutrition advice helped me. Now I should start taking serious, maybe learning about fitness, like weightlifting. And here comes like the bad chapter about fitness because I was doing just fine, like working every other day, doing random shit, going to failure. And then I found about bench press, deadlift, maybe pull-ups, rows. And I went to the gym following this type of, I just followed a program. I think it was like a powerlifting program, like the five repetitions for 5 sets, but doing it randomly. And that's the time when I started having the idea on my mind that something was not right with training because I really enjoyed like pumping biceps, doing plenty of reps, maybe more than 12, but I never enjoyed at all doing sets of 5 reps. I didn't feel my muscle. The connection was bad. It hurt me actually. And that's when I started to not enjoy training anymore because I saw that everyone was doing it. Everybody told me, no, you have to do this. You can focus on isolated movements. That's not going to help you. So I like tried to make myself stick to these movements, but I never enjoyed it. I noticed that I stopped going to the gym even
Just
for
out of
some time.
curiosity,
Yeah.
just you haven't heard you mention it yet. What was your exact schedule like when you were doing the powerlifting movements, and how long were you consecutively doing it for? And were you monitoring your like protein intake at this time? I'm just curious.
Mm, No, no, I didn't monitor my protein intakes. I was actually like, I knew I tried to, after I cut all that weight, like in my cutting phase, I knew that I had to go on a bulk, so I didn't really understand anything. So I went into a dirty bulk, but like an extremely dirty bulk. I noticed that I gained maybe like 7 kilos in a month and a half, like
Oh,
no sense. Yeah, yeah, that's disastrous. And it really fucked my mind because I just came from losing all that and I thought, like, this sucks doing these movements, eating this much food. Like, I felt like shit, I looked like shit. So yeah, it lasted maybe for 2 months that I was doing these kind of powerlifting moves, but no isolation work at all. I don't know what program.
how many days a week? Like, do you remember what the actual schedule was like?
Yeah,
Was it
it was like 4 days a week, 1 day bench press, 1 day deadlift, 1 day rows, 1 day pull-ups, and some isolation maybe, but with dumbbells, like really basic stuff, more oriented for.
I'm just gonna poke in here real quick as devil's advocate and just say a couple things, like as the bad guy, and just say a couple things.
Yeah, just
Sticking to any program for 2 months is not gonna really yield comprehensive data in any way, shape, or form. Number
for sure.
two, you were going into this program after being in an extreme calorie deficit. You also weren't making sure you were eating enough protein, and you I mean, frankly, you more than likely were using incorrect, not only weight loading. I mean, your rep scheme and set scheme was set, but I don't think you were probably using the right weights. And,
No, no, not at all, not at all.
I mean, I also again, just more than likely, there's a lot of variables that would accommodate. Like, again, I'm only saying this because so many people are going to jump down my throat about this. I don't want to make this one-sided, guys. You can obviously, as I've said many times, build muscle with these movements. I mean, that's why I'm playing devil's advocate here, just so you guys know. I don't want you guys to think that we're bad mouthing them. You can absolutely build muscle with all of those movements, but they are inefficient. They take
Mhm.
longer, and frankly, they're just not as good. I'm not going to get into it in this one. Check out my other videos, guys. But I just wanted to make that really clear because I don't want people to be watching this and thinking that we're the guys that just that badmouth these things. I mean, you can.
No, no,
So it
no,
sounds like it
obviously.
was a bad plan you were on. But sorry, to let you get back on it. I just wanted to jump in there with that.
Yeah, yeah, like the plan was bad, and I know that maybe with my mindset right now, and all I know, if I follow that program, I could actually do it well. But I just knew that I didn't enjoy that what I was doing, and that's when I was started like listening to advice of rest times. I remember when I did biceps, maybe I did one set to failure, and I rested for 15 minutes because I was playing my games in the computer. Then I did another set, then another. Like I spread 4 sets in like 6 hours, maybe. But actually, that was right what I was doing because it's okay. I just the set is what matter.
It's,
And
it's,
then
it's style, though. To be clear, it's
yeah,
a style that can work depending on how
yeah,
you.
yeah. I mean, it could work because I was putting in the work. But at this time, when I went to the gym and doing all these powerlifting movements, I started like getting like fixated. I think that's the word with rest times, like 1 minute or 2 minutes and a half. And I started getting obsessed about it with no sense. And even though I didn't like at that time short rest periods, I forced myself to do it. Like I was not enjoying anything I did. So yeah, those years, I think that lasted 2 years. I didn't really make any progress. I think I maybe even got worse. And then the pandemic came. That's like another chapter.
For most
Um,
people
yeah, 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 totally.
in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
But in
that
my
shit over yet? I
future,
don't even know. I don't care. I don't know.
here, no, nobody even uses the mask anymore.
I don't.
So
Anybody, they're just morons at this point. So
yeah.
go ahead.
But and here I actually forgot about it. Here came back an idea that I had because while I was doing all these kind of powerlifting movements, maybe focusing obsessively on some things, I found an account in Instagram about a person that got like insanely good results, and he always said, "I got results only training 45 minutes a day, only doing calisthenics, movements like push-ups, lunges, pull-ups, squats, like maybe 5 movements, but he did it with them like real intention. I didn't even know how to. Now I know how to apply that, but in my mind that was like, oh, that's crazy. With his own body weight, just a pull-up bar and something to do dips, like he's getting this amazing physique that is better than 90% of the people I see in the gym, and he only trains 45 minutes a day. Like that idea, not exactly that person, but that idea that it's possible to get that kind of physique, training however you like, wherever you like, for that limited amount of time, and not having to load heavy bars or being more than 2 hours in the gym. That was crazy to me, and I never stopped
Have you
thinking
seen
about
my
it,
chair
even
video?
though I kept.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Have you made me think of it? Have you seen my chair video yet? Where I show you how to perfectly exercise every muscle group on your body just using a common chair.
Yeah, the chair one. Yeah,
Okay,
one of the later
sorry, you
ones.
just made
Yeah,
me think of it. Sorry, that
yeah,
puts
yeah.
that calisthenic guy to shame. You know. So sorry.
Yeah, I know. That was even more advanced. Yeah, that reminded me of that. I thought there were only
Shameless
5
plug.
movements.
Shameless plug. It just came to me. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, but it's like me myself in that age. If I found that video, I would be crazy, like with a chair.
Well, that's why I do it though. That's why I do it for you.
Yeah.
Check
I,
out.
I I
Check
know
out.
it's going
Do
to
it.
help a lot of people. Yeah, and the pandemic started. I remember about that guy. I didn't have a chance to go to the gym anymore, so I said, let's try calisthenics. I bought a pull-up bar. I put it in my hallway, like the one you see. Um, and I started training there, like doing pull-ups, push-ups, and that's when I actually started getting more results, and I enjoyed it because it was less time. I didn't have to go anywhere. Like I started feeling that freedom again, but I still didn't even have any idea of what I was doing. Like there came a point in my life where I said, like everyone here in my family, my friends, I even help people close to me to do this. Everyone knows me as the fitness guy here, maybe, and I don't even know anything about sets or reps. I just know I had to train maybe 2 days a week, 4 sets, but it didn't make any sense. Just like a random thing in my mind, I said, yeah, you
Everybody.
have to do this, and
Everybody.
it, like
Goes through. Everybody
me,
goes through
yeah,
that.
I know, but me myself, like that crushed my own ego because I started asking me questions. Why do I do this? How do I do this? And I didn't even know the answer. So I like said, this is like I'm a liar even to myself. I don't know anything, and I started
But it made
like
you do research. Made you research.
yeah, and that was in 2021 actually. After a year of doing calisthenics, like in October of 2021, I started like here on YouTube and the internet. That's even when I started my personal trainer course. Like I said, I want to do this like for a living. I know I like it. I'm studying a career I don't like. I knew this was the way, but I had been ignoring it for my life. So I like got all into this and started researching everything I could and learning about sets, intensity, volume, like all things that are now basic to me. But I've been so many years without even paying attention to it, like not knowing anything about it. Like it blows my mind because now knowing all that information, I feel like I'm free. I don't mind if today I get sick and I can train because I know I can do it the next day or the next day. And if I don't do it all those 4 days, nothing happens because it's like a lifelong journey. But not knowing anything and thinking I had to do this rest time, these kind of sets, this exercise, it was like a trap. And if I didn't do it, my ego was crushed. I felt bad. So yeah, I don't know how I made it without knowing anything for so many time.
Me too. I think I more than a decade in my case, just doing it. I mean, I think I told
Yeah.
you the dumb shit. We never got actually get to the dumb shit I did, but everything from dragging boulders up a mountain, taking 3 days to do so, biting off more than I could chew by dropping 100-pound concrete block on the beach with a rope tied to it, and planning to walk 5 miles on the beach. That took me 24 hours. I was sunburned and rope burned, and I didn't finish it more than a mile. So yeah, just the dumb things. We're not going to get the list of things is almost endless. And
Yeah.
all
But
I had to do was stay in my house, do a little bit of reading, and
with a chair,
with a brick, a chair, a bag, a rope, literally anything. I got to do another poll about that. What you guys want me to see a perfect exercise demonstrated with some random object. Sorry, but back to you, bud.
no. But I know maybe you're more like a psycho. Like in terms of I know you can go
I
through your
just
limits and
I'm
pass
just a
them.
lunatic. I'm just a lunatic. I just
Yeah.
want to see because nothing's ever broke me, and I get a kick. I mean, I haven't heard anybody put it quite as well, and I'm this isn't me. This is David Goggins. He says it like this. He says he loves taking people's souls, and I know what he means when he says that. And it's because anytime I'm doing something hard, it doesn't matter what it is. I just choose to go run 50 miles randomly on a hurricane day. So I go to the park and a hurricane's going and I run 50 miles in it. I mean, people will stop. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you out here? I'm like, it's horrible. I'm suffering. I could barely breathe. I'm all cut up and shit, but I'm going to finish this. Why? What are you training for? I'm not training for anything. I just enjoy doing this. It's fun.
I'm just
I just enjoy it, and then, see me, I mean, anything. I'm not gonna get into it. Lots of things. I get a lot of shit from my neighbors because I run the neighborhood with a tire strapped to me, sometimes 2 tires strapped to me, and I'd like to do just sprints and runs around the neighborhood for a couple miles, and I get
oh, it's the
cops
crazy
stop
guy
me.
from the neighborhood
Yeah,
again. Right.
cops stop me. What are you doing? You can't be doing that out here. And I always say, listen, there's no law. Trust me. I've looked into it. I have 20 of you fuckers already asked me about this before. There's no law that says I can't do it. Go fuck yourself. And it is what it is. Now, is me running and sprinting with a tire the most productive possible way I could be developing the capacities I'm developing? No, but it's free, it's fun, and it motivates a lot of people to go out and at least take a walk if they can see a lunatic like me going with a tire. I don't have anyone to compete with because nobody nobody wants to do the crap I do. I'm just interested in sharing knowledge, but I mean, again, it's one of those things, guys. You have to be a particular kind of psycho to do these kinds of things, and everyone else, they just don't understand the necessity to do these hard things. I don't have any other way to put it. I like to do hard things. I mean, I could give you a whole bunch of random examples that would just sound like me being a masochist, putting on a bunch of hoodies and going for a run in Florida at noon on a 100-degree day and seeing how far I can go before I almost pass out. This just sounds stupid, suicidal, and masochistic to most people. I want to know how far I can push my body and how far I can push my brain. I want to reinforce my will control and build it, basically. And this is why, again, I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm better or whatever. I'm different than you guys. I'm built a little bit different. That's all. This is why I can work the crazy hours I work, why I can write the way I write and make the videos and clients and all the crazy shit I do in a day, which most people would take a full month to do. It's why I can do all of it. It's because I push myself constantly every moment of the day. I'll see something falling. I'm 10 feet away and I'll dive to catch it. Do I need to do that? No, that's ridiculous. I shouldn't do that. I want to see if I can get there in time, if my reflexes are fast enough, if I am fast enough. I'm just constantly testing myself for no reason, for my own pleasure. I have no one to impress. You guys don't see me doing this. I don't have a private life as far as you know. I don't have anything on social media. I keep myself to myself. I do it for my own benefit, and that is all. You're the same way, just a lesser degree of insanity, I suppose. You're just the normal. I want to be a healthy guy. I want to be normal and healthy baseline,
Yeah,
and most of the time Superman. That's me.
I know. So that I mean, I understand how maybe someone with your mindset or your personality could push through that, but I don't know how. And someone like me, that like right now, I'm starting to force myself or make me learn how to enjoy doing hard things. But at that time, I didn't even like doing anything hard. So maybe the pain of losing my results that I had gotten was the motivation to keep doing stuff that I didn't like, because it was harder on me or on my mental perception of myself losing all that than keep doing shit that I didn't like. So yeah, it was maybe more like it was more painful losing everything. But
Uh,
yeah, I think I left here in I was doing calisthenics at this time. I was trying to learn anything. But I became obsessed again about calisthenics, about the freedom of not needing a gym or not needing any equipment. I became like only push-ups, only pull-ups, nothing else. I don't want, because I became obsessed about this person that got insanely good results only doing those 5 movements. Like I said, I have to do the same with the same. Um, But I knew in my mind, because I stopped doing even my bicep curls, that I really like them. I stopped doing that. I stopped using dumbbells. But I knew in the back of my head that pull-ups didn't give me the same isolation in my biceps. I knew I had lost size in my bicep, even though my back was bigger and maybe I look bigger, but I knew I lost some things that calisthenics was not giving me back. I had no way of getting that. Um, and well, I started like getting more interested in bodybuilding. I started seeing more how bodybuilders train, and I saw that the isolation thing was always there. And I started comparing like the people I'm following, power lifters, calisthenic people, bodybuilders. I noticed that I started noticing patterns. Like bodybuilders are getting the most results than these people, and these are the only ones that are doing isolated things. Maybe there's something important here. Like these things, even though people don't want to admit it, help, and they have to be there. There's not only deadlift or rows. So that's when I started questioning myself. Yeah, sure.
If I may, I think maybe I could probably clarify this just a little bit for people, and I want to know if you'd agree with this actually.
Mhm.
You more than likely came to the same conclusion that I did. I mean, we've already talked about me last time. I mean, I've been through all the movement, goddamn patterns you could go through basically in the fitness circle. But the reason I ended up on biomechanics, the reason I love it so much, I promote it and I'm trying to share it with the world, is because you don't need anything. And it is the most efficient form possible. So just to hit on that with what you just said, when it comes to calisthenics, sure, a lot of those guys have great, big, muscular, shredded, athletic bodies. You got to understand, they either A, got those through their genetics, meaning they correctly picked the parents, and the calisthenic the movements that they're doing are supplementing those genetics, and they're getting an overall good physique. On top of that, if you're seeing them on social media or anywhere else, they are probably on some form of PED or performance enhancing drug.
Yeah.
Understand that as well. On top of that, they may be doing regular training as well, or they had years of regular training leading up to this, and simply doing the calisthenic movements enough will be stimulating their previous existing muscle
Yeah,
group.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Be maintaining it. When you're doing powerlifting movements, bench press, deadlift and squat, overhead press, I speak out against these movements strongly because, as I said earlier, they're good movements. You can build muscle with them. My problem is risk to reward ratio. They damage your body. They are not efficient. They're not time efficient. And you can basically maximally use your body in other ways without even going to a gym, better loading the muscles. Now, when I say better loading the muscles, here's what I'm talking about. Let's say you're doing a calisthenic routine. Your routine for this is you're going to be doing, I don't know, 3 sets of 10 chin-ups. You're doing explosive push-ups. You're doing front delt push-ups, tricep push-ups, and chest push-ups. You're doing ab crunches. Then you're doing body weight squats. You're doing sprints, calf raises, and hamstring curls using a swing set. Okay, that's your calisthenic routine. That's great and all. Here's the problem. You're neglecting a ton of other muscle groups that you simply are not training
Yeah.
directly with that style of training. Now, when you're doing a powerlifting routine, I'm not going to get into that, but you know what the movements they do, and you know the supplementary movements that they do. A lot
Yeah.
of the supplementary movements are hamstring curls, leg extension, bicep curls, tricep extensions. Do these sound familiar? Because it's stuff that we do. The
Yeah,
intelligence
they're the actual movements that build the muscle.
that actually build the muscle. Now, what they're doing is building the muscle in such a way that it is being evenly distributed the load across their bodies, damaging their joints, compressing their spine, inefficiently loading the muscles they're trying to target. So in these, and then we have the biomechanics. Sorry, we have the biomechanics. It's just me and Joaquin. We train each individual muscle groups with one perfect movement, never changing movement patterns or anything else, using whatever's around, our body weight, random objects, whatever. It doesn't matter. Now, the reason this works is, let's just say you got these three separate scenarios: calisthenics, powerlifting, and biomechanics. Okay. Each one of these people scenarios, all right, let's make a rubber doll out of them. This rubber doll is going to be made out of water balloons, different colored water balloons. Okay. 22, just to keep it simple, let's say 22 different water balloons, let's say 22 different muscle groups. Okay. Every one of these guys have those 22 muscle groups. These are all identical dolls. I'm going to take a syringe and inject a little bit in each one of the muscles for the calisthenics guy that he trained with his movements. They're going to get a little bit full, maybe 30% full, and
Yeah.
then a couple drops in the other muscle groups in the surrounding areas, but they're basically going to be deflated. Then we have the power lifter guy. He's going to get, bench press, overhead press, all these things. He's going to get injections in his, no pun intended, guys, sorry, injections in his shoulders and his pecs and his abs for the bracing and his quads and his glutes. You get the idea. He'll get these. Those will be filled up, and then the other muscle groups around there, the other balloons around there will have a little bit of injections in them, okay? Unless he does supplementary work. And then you have the biomechanics people. Those are me and you. Our rubber doll gets a full injection inside of every single balloon, every single workout that we're doing it. We are fully, only individually loading and training that one particular muscle group with like literally perfect efficacy. And in that case, with the perfect frequency and the perfect intensity and everything else that we apply, our rubber doll is always consecutively getting every single muscle group continuously filled up every single time with 100% accuracy and efficiency. Whereas these other guys are very poorly, I don't want to say training their dolls, it sounds very weird, but you guys get the idea. I'll stop before I make this any weirder. I think I'm making my point, Joaquin. Am I making my point? Following this here with the weird, badly put together metaphor. I'm going to have to work on this one.
No, it's okay. Maybe like you have a human anatomy chart like behind you. It's the same. Like
files for liquid or something. I'll build something. I'll build something.
That makes complete sense, and it's
but anyway, so back to you. So let's talk about your mental shift when you came across biomechanics. Because in my case, I was trying to learn biomechanics to improve my bench press, deadlift, and squat for a couple of weeks because I'm a dummy. And then I finally took them out kind of slowly over time and finally moved on to just the correct biomechanic movements. Now, I'm not trying to put you down here when I say this, but I know that you're still learning the correct movement patterns. You're still learning exactly how to be applying the resistance curve.
The resistance curves and everything.
Levers of your body, intelligence, etc. It'll come with time. Don't worry. It does take time to learn things. All good things take time. But at least from the point of transitioning from, let's say, old style, traditional style training into the isolated biomechanic training, what was that mental shift like?
It was actually like pretty slow. I was actually coming to it. Like I only had like a few more like small chapters. I was at the point when I was obsessed with calisthenics, but I knew that I wasn't getting enough isolation for certain muscles. So then I started like with all my new knowledge about sets, reps, intensity, and everything. I started treating my calisthenics movements as isolation. Like I've stopped doing all the movements, the human flag, the L sit, B sit, all those movements. I just only stuck with the basics, and I incorporated the dumbbells again to get isolation. I kept doing that. Like I thought I was doing everything great. Like I had the calisthenics, I had some isolation. Like I didn't need anything else. And then I started noticing that pattern about the genetics that you said, that maybe these people just have the right parents, because I started seeing maybe about all the calisthenics guys I knew, maybe 10% got really great physiques, and the other 90% were thin, small people that when you put a t-shirt on them, you don't even know that they even do a push-up. And they could do multiple push-ups, maybe like more than me. They could do 100 pull-ups, no muscle. So I started seeing that pattern. Like I'm not growing that much. The only people I see that grow the way I want to grow are bodybuilders. So maybe there's something I'm missing and nobody's telling me, nobody wants to speak about. And I saw this one guy that was offering like a biceps course, something like that. It was only like $2 on Instagram. Yeah, it was so random, but he had like an amazing body. It didn't make sense. He like really muscular, really symmetric, and he looked like a simple guy just offering his course. And I said, well, I buy it. And he went on a Zoom call and he started talking about this, but it was all the Doug Brignol information, like how the muscles attach to their origin and how you pull, and that you need an exercise that runs the same way that the fibers run. All these bilateral deficit. He started making a lot of things that made sense in my mind, because it was the things that I always knew. I knew that I had gotten the best results doing unilateral bicep curls, and that doing them with a bar sucked. I never got the same sensation. My right bicep was getting stronger and my left wasn't, because I was doing all the strength with the dominant arm. like everything started clicking. Everything that I suspected that it was that way actually was that way. And then I started talking to this person, and I was obsessed with pull-ups, like with my pull-up number. Like, I don't know, I still think it's cool, but not like in an obsessed
Yeah,
way. Like, but
super
but
fun.
I still keep them like for fun, because I don't know, maybe I'm dumb too, and I keep doing them. And he mentioned that the body is not designed to like go this way. Like the shoulder can get an impingement if doing this for a prolonged way time, because of the design of the human body.
Oh,
And that's
depending.
when yeah,
Sorry.
I know now it depends, but in that moment he showed me that the best movement for the lats is the arm pull in when you only use 30 degrees. And it instantly clicked me, like the human body was not designed to do push-ups or pull-ups. Like these are movements that somebody invented or created and we're copying it, but it doesn't necessarily align with our body structure or our muscle structure. And
More
that's
desired
when
result.
I saw, yeah, it's not about the movement. I was at this point, I was like, oh, movement patterns, like push, pull, jump, like these basic ways. But no, I then realized there are individual muscles that do this, and maybe I can, doing the thing that my muscle was designed for, I will get the most benefit. And that's when I like started searching on Doug Brignoli, Mo, Travis Claywell's, Renzo. I think that's the other guy. Then I met you, because then I started. It was funny because I first saw your video with Doug, like sets, reps, intensity with Doug Brignoli, where he presented his 3-way split. And I was thinking, I still like the freedom of training in my house, like not needing anything. And all these people use this machine, like, or a pulley, or this dual cross arm thing that it's like a monster pulley. I thought, there's no way I have to spend all this money. This is just a pulley. I will build a pulley for myself. And I started like searching for these gym pulleys, and I thought about making a structure. And then I saw your channel, and it was like this man created my idea, but he made it like so sophisticated, like with small pulleys and all. And that's when I finally, my mindset like clicked, and I saw it's this way. This is the only way. This is like the best way to train, the safest, the fastest, the most efficient. And there was just no way back. And this was like 3 months ago, maybe.
Now that
Until
you're missing a very important step of your fitness journey, real important one. It's the final one so far. I should to be fair, it hasn't solidified yet, just like your biomechanics hasn't yet. But I just introduced you to the logical fallacy aspect as well. So I
yeah.
mean that's an important aspect of your fitness journey as well. I would think, anyways. Have you had a chance to comprehensively? I don't want to say comprehensively, but exhaustively read and understand everything
Yeah,
having
yeah.
to do with that? Okay.
I know that I'm not like an egotistic person. Like, oh, I defend my ideas. I
Not like that, but you know what I mean.
like it
For
helped
your own
me.
research, for your
Yeah,
own
yeah,
knowledge.
yeah, sure, totally. Yeah, yeah.
The good thing, and I'm gonna just get on a soapbox for a second, guys. But to make it about myself for a moment, the reason I had to conclude with the logical fallacies here is because I also just wrote this book on logical fallacies. I suppose I'm plugging it, I guess, but it's in my description, it's in my Etsy store, guys. Now, the reason I wrote this is because I have been speaking out against and debunking and discrediting basically every single person inside of the fitness industry, as well as a lot of different doctors, so-called nutritionists, so-called specialists in many different areas who don't actually know the difference between their head and their ass. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like me for this. I have no idea why. But a lot of people don't like me for this when I go ahead and discredit their entire profession and show people how to do everything at home perfectly, easily, and simply. They certainly don't like my slogan that all you need is all you have, all
All
you need
you have.
is knowledge. And
Yeah.
they really don't like the fact that knowledge weighs nothing and costs nothing now. So all of these people have been hounding me and attacking me and everything else, and I have just been debating and discrediting them left and right. It's been 7, almost 8 years at this point now of me doing this. No one has ever disproven a single thing I have ever said anywhere publicly about exercise or fitness. Now, I have taken all of these many ridiculous points I've had to deal with all the time, And well, I mean, just like you, I had to learn about logical fallacies myself several years ago when I really got into like real debates where I was like, well, because, and I was like, well, that's not the fucking answer. The same thing like you. So I had
Yeah.
to. I was like, well, because of physics, but I wasn't making my points clearly and articulately. I wasn't being heard. So I
Yeah.
had to go through a messy process of dealing with a lot of very, very angry people for many years to, to come up with all of these comprehensive and easy to understand argument and logical fallacies. But logical fallacies are something that we're all susceptible to, all of us. And it's why we have these fitness journeys that we experience. It's why you went through yours, and it's why I went through mine. It's because we didn't know
Yeah.
about logical fallacies. We didn't understand science and stuff at the time. It's how it is. Now,
Yeah. It
the
would
reason,
have saved us like years of our lives, multiple hours. Like
that's why,
that's the sad part, but
yeah,
yeah,
but that's
it's
why
how it
again
is.
I want to get this information out there to so many people because it makes your life so much better. But you guys help
Yeah.
with that. You have to help with that, guys. Right now, hit the subscribe, hit the like, leave
Yeah.
a comment. Right now,
You
that's
have
you
to.
guys. Okay, I'm doing my part. You all got to do your part. We're doing his part. Where are you? But anyways, sorry. Uh, So the thing about logical fallacies everyone has to understand is we are all susceptible to it. Now, I'm a big fan of watching debates. I really like intellectuals debate. I just saw a really great one. It doesn't matter. It was Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris. It was a wonderful debate. And one of the things I really love about watching debates real time is actually seeing these intellectual giants fall for the same logical fallacies, even though they know about them. They'll still fall for them. And by the way, of course, I'm a dumbass. I fall for these things all the time too. That's why I had to write them down to make sure I'm not constant. But they're basically just cognitive biases that get in your way. So a lot of simple ones we've already addressed. The fallacy of genetics, the fallacy of like ad hominem. Like for example, somebody like you who can, well, it would be kind of funny, but you could approach like a giant old bodybuilder and be like, you're training completely wrong. And everybody around the bodybuilder himself is going to laugh at you and say, oh, well,
Yeah.
ha, 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 ha. What the hell?
Where's your?
You know?
Oh, actually,
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to
Yeah, jump in, bud.
the person that made me actually like believe in this biomechanics type of training
Don't use the
was,
word believe.
yeah, not believe, like, but like confirm it worked. Yeah, I don't know how is the translation
But
into to English.
believe is just a bad word
Like
because
in Jesus, like
either
religion.
no, it's just either things are likely or things are unlikely. And it
Uh-huh.
is likely that the laws of physics apply to your body. It is likely that all of the science that applies to all humans also applies to you. These are likely things. Magical thinking is not likely. Magical thinking is delusional. Jim Bro logic is not real logic. That's why it's called Jim Bro logic.
Yeah,
Uh, sorry, back
like
to
it's not no logic at all. Yeah, like confirm, like it works. I think that's like anecdotal evidence
once
because
again.
I didn't have proof that this was the reason, but this community of biomechanic people that train with these biomechanically perfect exercises, they were actually muscular people. Like they had really good developed bodies. This person I met through the bicep course that was $2, he had an amazing physique. And we talked, and he told me, "Yeah, I built this physique in 5 years, only doing these exercises. I He recently started using PEDs to get past his genetic potential, his roof,
We all go
but
there.
for 5 years, all natural, he built that amazing physique only using those exercises. And the same with Doug Rinoli, the same with you. The only reason I fell for the powerlifting style of training was because I saw people doing isolated movements that had shitty physiques. So I thought, yeah, I'm doing something that does not give you a good physique. But I didn't know that these people that didn't get results were not paying attention to their sets, to their volume, to their intensity. But these exercises being trained the same way, with the same intention, with the same volume, and everything as you would do a deadlift or a squat or a pull-up or a push-up, that is what works. The only difference was the effort that these people were putting into them.
Mhm.
and you guys were the people that were like
Although to
not
be
not
fair,
believing,
Although
not
to be fair,
believing.
that
Yeah,
is argument from authority. Just to be fair, so a couple things.
it's a fallacy. It's a
It is.
fallacy,
It
right?
is. So, for example, how many people do you know will go on social media or anywhere in the world and say, "Look at me, I got this body in only a year." But look at the actor Wolverine, Thor. You know these actors. They will
Yeah,
straight lie to the entire public, saying, "I built this body in 3 months,
yeah,
no performance enhancing drugs, etc." Okay. Now,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
did
yeah,
they
yeah.
build the body in that time? Yeah, absolutely. Were there other factors at play? Yeah, absolutely. The point I'm making, even with Doug did not build his body just with biomechanical exercises. He did traditional style training just as I
Yeah.
did for many years. The difference being, well, actually, in Doug's case, he actually did develop a fantastic physique using traditional methods, although it was much smaller than his final form. Let's call it.
Mhm.
Um, but as for myself, I'm a good example because I was freakishly strong and I trained my tendons, I trained my strength ability. I was again, I was very heavy weights, guys, with powerlifting movements, extremely heavy loads, doing crazy shit like truck pulls and really dumb shit. I was 145 pounds, 150 pounds if I had a lot of food in my stomach and I was wet. And I was lifting considerably more than people, triple my size, triple my muscle mass. And I trained like that, like a lunatic for many years. I mean, again, we addressed it before already. I've talked about it to death.
Yeah.
But when I switched over to training with correct principles of intensity, intelligently filling up my balloons, as you would say, isolated movements, training each individual muscle group fully, again, intentionally, I
Mhm.
made crazy progress. Now, when I say crazy progress, I don't mean I blah. No, I'm 205 pounds now. I was 150 pounds when I started. And that was roughly 7 or 8 years ago, so you do the math. Now, if I was to get completely lean and shredded right now, like stage ready, let's say, I would be about 185, I would think. I mean, I've got a six-pack year-round. You guys see my videos every week I post of myself. This is not because I'm a superhuman or I have good genetics. I do not. I have shown a lot of pictures of myself, me younger, everything else. My genetics want me to be about 135, 140 pounds, skinny, long-distance runner. Those are my genetics. They do not want me to be 205 pounds, and everywhere that I walk, people ask me if I'm a personal trainer before they know anything about me. You
Yeah.
know, just to put it in perspective for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is how it is. I mean, I routinely, I even sound like I'm being a dick sometimes. I just mentioned lots of times people, oh, what should I do about this? Because I look big and stuff. How, you blankety blank. And I say, listen, don't believe me. Don't listen to me because of what I look like. That doesn't mean anything. But here's some actual facts. Check these out if you want. I mean, my body size and everything else is irrelevant. And in Doug's case, he had a pretty good body again before he started doing these exercises. He also had really good genetics.
Yeah,
Um,
he had amazing genetics.
well, he has a beautiful body. I mean, no homo, but
Yeah.
he fantastic. Really did.
Yeah.
Um, damn, Doug. But anyways, and that's for everybody. And so many people will make this problem. I myself, I was a huge follower of Lee Priest and Dorian Yates. Those were my two guys I really respected for like 5 or 6 years. I was training 2 or 3 hours a day, Dorian Yates style, without taking any drugs, and while being a chef 14 to 16 hours a day. Guys,
Wow.
think about this kind of insanity.
What's going on with you?
Think about it. And cardio. This is insane. I still don't know how in God's name I even did that. It's
You
just
just hate
crazy.
yourself, man.
I just hated myself. I don't know. Uh, nowadays, it's 20 minutes in the gym. For me, I'm in my gym. Okay, it's 20 minutes. At some point today, I have arms to do, guys. I'm going to come in here. Arms is like a 15-minute day.
It's
I come in here, I'm
nothing.
going to do arms real quick with dumbbells. No big deal. Two different weights. I'm going to use a 15. I'm sorry, three weights. I apologize. I'm going to use a 15, a 25, and a 5-pounder. What's the 5-pounder you asked for? It's for my rear delts and my lateral delts. Yeah, I use 5 pounds. What you going to do about it? Intelligently loading your muscles. You don't need a lot of weight, guys. This is the
Mhm.
point I'm making. This is just 5 pounds at the end of a 32-inch lever being lifted by a very small lateral deltoid. And this is what I'm training for today is sarcoplasmic, so I'm going for a very big pump. But
That's
anyway,
great, man. Sounds fun.
Back to you. Oh, we actually got to wrap up here. I need to get something to eat real quick for my next client.
Yeah,
So real
sure,
quick,
man.
guys, I just like to remind everyone, please, if you're able to, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment of some form. Everything helps the algorithm pick us up. I have a lot of really cool stuff coming up next month. I'm working on it really hard right now, running myself ragged over it actually. So I hope you guys like it. I'm also going to start doing giveaways again. Not sure what I'll be giving away, but probably some books, some keychain gems, and some other stuff. Who knows? Maybe some free coaching sessions. I don't know. Joaquin is going to be doing a lot of videos with me. If you guys have any questions for me or for Joaquin, just go ahead and email either one of us. We'll get back to you.
Yep.
I don't know, guys. I don't even know what to tell you. You guys know what's up. All of our stuff is in the description below. Stay tuned. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you very much for your support. And if you have a story you want told and you think it's pretty cool, hit me up. I might have you on the podcast like Joaquin
Yeah,
here.
sure.
I love a
That would
good
be really
story.
interesting.
I love a good inspirational story like the next guy. We're certainly not unique in our lives. We all have a wonderful book that's always interesting to read. And I speak with many of you people via email on a daily basis. And some of you guys got some really cool stories. I've mentioned
Yeah.
you before. Some of you should pop on here and share them, but I don't force any. So, anyways, guys, have a great day. Joaquin, thank you so very much for hopping on, telling us your story,
Yeah,
at
man.
least briefly in summary. I mean, I know it was a very summarized story, but thank you. And
It
next
was
time
nice.
we're going to be doing this again. I don't know what we'll be talking about, but something fun, guys. If you have any suggestions, just let us.
Yeah, just you can send me an email and we'll talk about it. Yeah.
He'll be in the description too, guys. All right, stay on your grind, everybody.
Every little bit counts. Don't forget, get your finger exercise in and help me out at the same time. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.